Well, banana intelligence and banana intelligence agents in South Africa. It is pandemonium in the country. And it seems we have got the proper chaos. Now, banana is all I could hear when Brown Mokgotsi was speaking right there about his clandestine intelligence, him being the contact of the intelligence agency in South Africa and doing forensic work, actual forensic work, going around and searching for criminals in South Africa. That is Brown Mokgotsi. Tell you what, if there's one thing that the ANC has done and has done very well in South Africa, it is to turn this country into a banana republic. I mean, they've done that very, very well. So, how does a country actually become a banana republic? A country becomes a banana republic when the institutions of that country no longer serve the purpose that they were made to serve. When the police no longer serve policing, when intelligence no longer does the intelligence work of protecting the country and the people, when the government of the day no longer does the work of building the economy and building infrastructure and taking care and being the custodian of the country, then a country becomes a banana republic. And that's what the ANC has done, at least since 2009. Well, I'm going to narrate a story for you to understand how did we get here. How did we get to a point where we've got Brown Mokgotsi as the intelligence of South Africa? Well, you might take Brown Mokgotsi for a fool, which of course he looks like one, but that man has been looting and eating the money of the intelligence of South Africa. Whether he is intelligence or not, it doesn't matter to the ANC. It has never mattered. This has happened before. I mean, in this country, we have got a lot of problems. We've got a lot of policing problem, crime problem in this country. We've got every sort of crime that you can think of. We've got kidnapping, we've got murders, robberies, hijacking, and cash in transit robberies, and every kind of robbery and crime that you can think of. Everyone, whether it's corruption or whatever it is, there is every kind of crime in this country. And all of that is because we do not have any intelligence, as we have just found out from Brown Mokgotsi. But some of us have known this for some time now. We knew that in South Africa we do not have intelligence. And intelligence in South Africa ended somewhere in 2009. In 2009, going forward, that's where we actually stopped having intelligence in South Africa. Let me take you down memory lane so that I can explain to you how the ANC has hollowed out all of the institutions of South Africa in order for them to be able to loot the funds. The ANC members, the members of the ANC, how they've hollowed out every institution of government in order to loot out funds. And one of them is the Intelligence Agency of South Africa. You see, the Intelligence Agency of South Africa receives billions and billions of covert money from the state, from the treasury, straight from treasury. This department receives billions and billions and billions of rands. Now, the question is, where's the money going? Because we don't have any intelligence. If we have so much crime, where criminals are even more intelligent than all our intelligence institutions, the army intelligence, the police intelligence, and every other institution of government that we have. If the criminals can be that more intelligent than all these institutions, it means those institutions are no longer existent. They no longer exist. In other countries, which are supposed to be peers of South Africa, like Britain, like the United States, like Australia, they do not have the crimes that we have in this country. Kidnapping does not happen in those countries. Hijacking is at its minimum in those countries. And corruption is also dealt with because they've got intelligence. But we have got all of these problems because we do not have intelligence. intelligence. The last time we had intelligence, it was during Thabo Mbeki. So let's go to 2009. Let's find out exactly how the ANC hollowed out the intelligence agency of South Africa. In 2009, an individual called Richard Mdluli was put as the head of crime intelligence in South Africa. And that's where the ANC started to dismember, to dislodge the intelligence agency of South Africa. Now, the job of Richard Mdluli was not to do intelligence. He was put in that position by Jacob Zuma at the time. So when Richard Mdluli was put in that position, he did not do intelligence. His job was not to solve crime in South Africa through intelligence. No, his job was actually to capture the intelligence department. Now, how do you capture such a department that's full of people who are very smart, who know what they're doing? They know how to lead themselves. They know how to actually capture crimes and bring criminals to justice. How do you capture such a thing? What you do, you get in there, you remove the good ones. You remove the ones that actually know how to do the work. You remove the real agents, and you put people who are not agents in that department. And that's what Richard Mdluli did. Guess who Richard Mdluli actually put in the positions of being agents and leaders of agents and doing intelligence work in that department? Richard Mdluli went and put his wife, his ex-wife, his daughter, his son, and all of those people were put as leaders. They were given high positions in that. Some of them were put as agents of intelligence. But they didn't have any knowledge of such work. They had zero knowledge. But they were put there because all they had to do was to occupy. Now, occupy while what happens? They occupy while money flows from the treasury of South Africa into the intelligence agency of South Africa. Now, when you have your family members who do not know anything about intelligence, and their contacts and their sub-agents are people who know nothing, they're not there to do intelligence. Of course, when the money comes, it's yours. It's all yours. All those billions, when they come, you can loot, you can do whatever it is that you want. And Richard Mdluli was doing exactly that. At the time, Natim Tetwa was actually the Minister of Police. And tell you what, Bheki removed this guy. He removed Richard Mdluli from his position because there were all of these allegations of corruption and wrongdoing that he was doing in there. And when he removed him, out of public pressure, of course, when he removed him, Jacob Zuma and Natim Tetwa went after Bheki. After Bheki removed Richard Mdluli for hollowing out and destroying the intelligence agency of South Africa, Jacob Zuma and Natim Tetwa, they removed him from his position. They kicked him out. So after Jacob Zuma and Natim Tetwa had removed Bheki from his position, you know what they did? They brought back Richard Mdluli to continue his work of capturing the intelligence agency of South Africa. Richard Mdluli was reinstated in his position to put his family members and his friends as agents and lieutenants and leaders of that agency and hollow it out to the ground, to its foundation, to ensure that it does not function. Because if it does function, we won't have crime in this country. We won't have corruption in this country. We will have a country that actually functions. But we had people in government who did not want a functioning country. You see, if you want to loot the country of its resources, what you do, you destabilize it. And that's what they do. That's what other countries actually do in Africa. They keep Africa in wars so that they can loot. So they're doing it on a larger scale. But these ones who are in our government, they do it in the local scale. They hollow out these institutions. That's why the first thing that Jacob Zuma did when he came into government was to disband the Scorpions. The Scorpions were disbanded, and now what was left was to get rid of the intelligence agency of South Africa, and they went and did that. So the story of Bheki and Richard Mdluli. Bheki removes Richard Mdluli and he gets kicked out, and Richard Mdluli gets brought back to his position as the head of intelligence by Jacob Zuma and the Minister of Police at the time, which was Nathi Mthethwa. And remember, that is exactly when they put a young, intelligent man by the name of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, promoted him from being just a major general to being lieutenant general overnight. But what they did not know is that such a man called Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi was very much intelligent. He went there and became the acting commissioner of police, taking over from Bheki, who was kicked out. When Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi got into that position, somewhere in 2011, the first thing that he did, he removed Richard Mdluli out of the office again, because it was obvious that this man was destroying, he was not building. He removed Richard Mdluli and his family and his wives and his ex-wives from that position. And guess what Jacob Zuma and Nathi Mthethwa do again? They remove Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi from the position of acting commissioner of police, even though he was doing great work. Such a man should have been promoted to be a permanent commissioner of police, national commissioner of police. But no, they remove him because what they want is contrary to what he is doing. He is doing against what they want. Whatever he's doing, it's going to destroy their plans. It's going to make sure that whatever it is that they do does not work. They need the crime. They need the corruption. They need the country to be destabilized in order for them to be able to loot the money. So Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi removes this guy. And immediately when he removes him, he gets removed from his position and replaced with Ria Piecha. Yeah, the same Ria Piecha. So the story goes as you know. But what I'm trying to bring to your understanding is that this is how the ANC works. The intelligence of South Africa is not meant to work under the ANC. So a person like Brown Mokgotsi, even though he might not be intelligent per se, but he is someone who is used to loot the money from the state. We heard how this man, monies, millions of monies, were going through the trust of his wife and going to a Brown. And he keeps saying that, well, a Brown could be anybody, maybe they made a mistake or whatever it is. But the monies, millions, were coming to him, coming from the sources, whether it's the criminals like Katiso Molefe and the Ket Matlala, or through the intelligence agency of South Africa, whichever way that works. These guys would loot money from the state at every chance that they get. So Brown Mokgotsi, it's not that he's not known to Senzo Mchunu and the higher echelons of the government of South Africa. He's very much known. Just the same way as Richard Mdluli was part and parcel of the Jacob Zuma government. And the leaders in positions of Minister of Police like Nathi Mthethwa and the president of the country actually wanted him to be there. They wanted him to do what he was doing. I would be surprised if I hear that the higher echelons of the ANC government do not know Brown Mokgotsi and they didn't put him in that position. I tell you what, we're still going to find out how millions and millions were actually looted from the state, from the intelligence agency into the pockets of all of these individuals. This is what they do. This is how they hollow out our country and run us dry. They've been doing this for some time. Crime cannot be solved with these people in power. There's nothing that we can achieve with this kind of leadership. This kind of leadership is not going to take us nowhere. It is not going to change the country and bring it back to stand on its feet, because they're the ones who brought the country to its knees. And they do it on purpose in order for them to get rich. So this Brown Mokgotsi, he knows, you can see him when he speaks, that this banana intelligence that he's doing, he is backed up by the great powers. And that statement that he told us, that speech that he gave to us, telling us how he became all of this and how he has been doing great work. All that was written from somewhere. And I can tell you the big powers actually helped. Did you see the big lawyers that were sitting right there next to him? Now, those lawyers are there to do the work, to ensure that their man survives the law. A lot of people are hanging on this in government. Brad Mokgotsi is not alone. He has to protect a lot of people. Well, this will be the end of this segment. And if you made it to this point, thank you very much. Please remember to like and subscribe.